necessarily, but to make a comment to, in respect of what Freddie was saying. We had a perfect example is the banana industry in the Windward Islands, right? We had a circumstance where up to 1992 there were 24,000 banana growers producing a standard quality fruit for a European market. Then the question of preferences came in and the non-compliance with WTO rules, and then you know what happened with that. So today we have about 4,000 banana growers. I don't remember, I'm not good at math to tell you what the distance is in terms of number of years, but it's a short time, and the thing has almost completely disappeared. It never occurred to anybody, I don't think. It occurred to me, but why do we have to continue to produce bananas for Europe? Couldn't we have turned inward and produced the same bananas, using the same disciplines, producing top quality bananas for the Caribbean countries? Because when you think about it, school feeding programs, right? The fruit that are offered are pears, grapes, apples, plums, and a lot of North American fruits. You go to the hospitals, there are people in there that need bananas. There are old people's homes, or hospices as you call them, where you can feed bananas. There are preschools, and then you have the circumstance of sports. The point I'm making is that I'm pretty sure that if we do a arithmetical calculation, we will find that we can more than supply, or maybe there's too much, the market would be very big for the banana industry to continue to have at least 20,000 growers instead of 4.
I just want to follow up on the point that was made about into the internal market. I think while this is a fact that we really need to address, one of the major problems I've encountered with regional marketing is a lack of marine logistics. We could find markets often in the French Caribbean, but we can't find boats to move the produce on a regular basis, particularly when we're talking about perishables. That's a problem we need to address.
Thanks, Dan. We often don't disagree, but I think today I have to disagree with you. I think it's a fallacy that people in the Caribbean don't appreciate their local food, or it's a problem to get it on the restaurant cuisine and that sort of thing. The problem is for the restaurateurs and so on to get a regular supply of stuff to put it on the menu so that they don't have to change their thing. If you don't agree with me, there's a place called, what's it called now on Agribusiness Avenue? El Pecos. El Pecos have cassava, they have green fig, they have all this local stuff on the menu. They are opening more and more outlets. There are lines there that half an hour you wait to get your food. And it's all local food. What people want is not foreign food necessarily, but they want it in a convenient way, and they want it packaged in a convenient way. That's basically innovation.
Well, the lady this morning gave a very lucid talk on how she sees herself as an agribusiness woman, and that she has a farm and she did farming and she took care of all her children and sent them to school and so on. So I think, maybe there is a difference between the agribusiness farmer and the rest of agribusiness, which is like backward and forward linkages. And I don't know if how much effort is being put on actually teaching like people in these high schools and universities about agribusiness and what can be done. And even listening to Marianne, we can tell that there is a lot of opportunities in the Caribbean as a whole. And I tend to not have a sense of what is being done. So I don't know if you can help us with that.
Okay, I can discuss that from where I sit as a member of the Winford team that is being led by Rufina? Or just that up. A member of the Winford team that has been contracted to institute the first agribusiness cluster in St. Vincent, registered as Vinci Clus. That cluster is a genuine agribusiness cluster that includes input suppliers, producers, service providers like the bank, NCB, your Standards Bureau, the marketing board, restaurateurs, hotels. So it's a complete value chain, and what I've been insisting is that our concept of a value chain in the Caribbean goes from farm to consumer. A value chain in today's world has to go from farm to farm. It has to be a closed loop, because eventually we are going to have to be concerned about what happens to our waste. So that there must be a closed system. You want all your nutrients recycling back into the farm. So whether it's the scraps that you put the insides of the 5 fingers, what's the inside of the 5 fingers? 5 palms? whatever the inside of the 5 fingers, you put that and you steep it and you make wines. But the thing is that our responsibility with value chains now is to close the entire loop. So Glenn, I can tell you that there are significant things on the horizon. There are things that are happening right now. In Belize, the last contract I did in Belize, they too are going the cluster route, so that in Belize City and Punta Gorda, there are now clusters being arranged there that would span from farm to consumer, and again with that closed loop. So I can tell you from that point.
Keeping with the theme innovating in the agribusiness sector, Steve, I myself being an exporter, I heard you talk earlier about traceability and so on, and we in Trinidad and Tobago have in place a very good system as exporters where we label our products and so on, our packaging. When it reaches the consignee, it can be traced back easily. So we do have that system in place. There seems to be a lot of talk about innovation, but one thing I can say, we in the agriculture sector as farmers, there is no shortage of innovation and ideas and so on. Where the shortcoming is on behalf of the state, the governments of the region have failed miserably in the last how many years to put some kind of emphasis in developing the agri-entrepreneurs of the region. And recently in Trinidad, when we heard the budget, the government announced so many incentives for the manufacturing sector, as you know, is a clique of people. But what have been there for the agri-entrepreneur, the small man, to develop to become the agri-entrepreneurs that we wish them to be, or where we want to see agro-processing in Trinidad and Tobago, by extension the region? So there is no lack of ideas, there's a lack of political will by the policymakers, by the government, to move this process forward.
Well, actually, it's along that line. I think one of the things that seem to be a more economic proposition is very, very, very precise niche markets. I still don't think we could dream of the large volume of marketing that we require. And I know Freddie did talk about marketing, and perhaps, and surely rather, what she implies is that we're going to have to do the right kind of research and so. But when we do that research, we should be able to come up with niche markets. Like a cake like this, you could in fact begin to promote it from about, let's say, March of the year, and you could actually have orders very, very precisely, and really your whole Bajan diaspora throughout the whole world could capture it, and by extension the Caribbean diaspora. So I would like to hear the panel's view on the alternative marketing system of niche marketing.
I need to stand up so that everybody will see who's the fool saying this. One of the problems I have with this sector is that we do not take ourselves seriously. I am always at pains to find one person, just one person, who will say publicly, I made the right choice into going into this sector. How can I convince my son? How can I ask my cousins, my young cousins, to come into a sector where everybody catching their tail? It's impossible. I cannot find anyone else in the sector to stand up and say, I mean, Joe isn't here now, but it was something I was discussing with Alistair yesterday. Joe Pirish Jr., who I've known for a number of years, he's doing well. We are in the bus coming to the hotel, and I said, Joe, how are you going? Boy, pressure. How Joe Pirish Jr. can have pressure? You know what I mean? No, I'm being very serious, and this is a conversation I've been having all the time. You're driving a Mercedes. You know what I mean? You're doing well. Don't mama guy me, you're doing well, right? Maybe you don't want other people to get in this sector, but you're doing well. So let me know from now, how can I sell a sector where everybody is doing so badly? You follow? So that we are not taken seriously because we don't take ourselves seriously, at least not in public. We all educate our children. We all drive, well, most of us drive nice cars. Yeah. Most of us drive nice cars, etc. But the thing is that we do not publicly acclaim that not only are we business people, but we are successful business people. The hoteliers have a better lobby than us, you know. They go there and they said, look, they have records, which they're willing to share.
Yes.
Fabricated, of course, but records all the same. And they tell you, look, occupancy is down 20%. We hire 600 people, you know. They go to the ministers hear 600, hear that it's down 20%, hear that it brings in so much foreign exchange every year, they give them the concessions they want. We come to them and tell them, you know, it's unfair how you all treat us. Tomatoes are $3 a pound now. What's your cost of production? Boss, it varies, you know. You follow? It varies. Now, I worked at an agriculture bank for 10 years. I know how blight government money is. You follow? Every loan we did, fellas walk into the bank. Boss, quarter acre, I make $60,000 on that. So you get a loan. Repayment time come around, you have a $1,000 payment at the end of the month. Boss, how we expect when they pay $1,000? I said, but you just said that you make $60,000 from a crop like this. Boss, it varies. You follow? It depends on the weather and thing. I mean, then you know what I'm talking about, right? I mean, I have been in the midst of the farmers' struggle in Trinidad from Pulchan days, from Clyde Head days. So I'm not just talking out the top of my head. So the idea is that if we don't take the sector seriously and we don't project it as a serious sink for investments, nobody's going to take it seriously either. And therein lies part of the problem that the sector is facing. So I'm standing publicly to say that we need to take ourselves more seriously. We are professionals. They are professional farmers. The university is not going to turn out professional farmers. Don't ever fool your fat about that. Right? We have institutions that can turn out technicians who will be very good farmers. The ECIAFs and so do that. We are putting out agricultural scientists. We said we changed it to technologists while I was there. But they are not going to be farmers. Why do we expect that? By law, our electrical engineers cannot wire houses. They need a wireman's license for that. They are electricians to do that. So the thing is that we have to understand what the professionals do, what their capacities are. Just as an extension, you need a trained extensionist to do extension work. Not an agronomist working for Joe periods. You follow? So that is that kind of thing that we need to take more seriously.